Welcome to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. I'm Josh Robinson, the head coach, and we're here to discuss our past Friday's win over Southeast Whitfield High School. It was a good night for us. We're coming off an emotional win, a last-second win against Heritage. We experienced a roller coaster where we were up most of the game and gave up the lead with less than 30 seconds left. Then we had a big play at the end and were able to score and propel us to a victory. It's always a danger that you'll come off of those kind of games and play really flat. It's kind of the same way with an emotional loss. You just never know how a team's going to respond, and we kind of talked to our guys about that and challenged them during the week to perform and go out and play with emotion, and I felt like our guys did an outstanding job getting out to a halftime lead of 32-0 and then traveling on for the end of the game with a big win. So ultimately it was a good night for the Bruins. Starting with our offense, I thought our offense was really efficient. Not many plays. Our first defense type guys played in the 30 range, and our offensive guys were around the 45-50 range, and we put up some really big numbers, starting with Owen Brooker, who was 21 for 25 for 379 yards and 4 touchdowns. I believe the 379 yards are a school record for a single game. That'll be verified towards the end of the year, which is a big accomplishment. But Owen would tell you when a big accomplishment's like that, it's not just him. He's doing a great job and he's throwing the ball wonderful, but at the same time he's getting protection from his offensive line. His receivers are catching the ball, making tough catches, making the easy catch, which is when you're wide open is not always as easy as it seems because of the mental part as the ball's approaching. So running backs being involved in the game and kind of keeping the defense honest and having to respect the run game. So it kind of all meshes together, but still we don't want to take anything away from Owen. An outstanding night. He was extremely efficient, completing 84% of his passes with that many yards. That's outstanding. Rushing wise, Cameron Collins continues to fill in for Adrian Reyes, our senior. Cameron's had 8 carries for 29 yards and just did a great job for us. He's getting way better. Best game he's had by far in pass protection. As much as we throw the ball, that's a really big deal. And typically at all levels of football, high school, college, and the NFL, it's really the worst thing that a young running back does. They know how to run the ball, but they're not always familiar with how to block, where to block, and an effective way to take on people that's larger than them. And Cameron did an outstanding job for that. Adrian Reyes continues to rehab and try to come back from his hamstring injury. He came in with 3 carries for 38 yards, a touchdown on the night with a 27 as his long run. We'd planned for him to play more plays and become back more to a split with Cameron, but we got off to a good start with an early lead and were able to pull us out enough that we didn't feel like risking his hamstring in that with the scoreboard the way it was. Owen Brooker, we limited his running. He didn't really need to with the effectiveness of Cameron and Adrian, and he came on with 2 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown himself. Again, so he accounted for over 400 yards on the night, which is absolutely outstanding. That's got to be close to a school record as well. And then we were able to get some of our young guys in on the action. Dominic Johnson, who we really like at running back and linebackers, a freshman for us, had 3 carries for 13 yards and a touchdown. Eli Spites, our freshman quarterback, who we think is going to contribute at quarterback in the future, or wide receiver. Really athletic kid's done an outstanding job, led our freshman who played all JV teams to a 5-2 record on the year. He ended up with 2 carries for 43 yards, just a really good athlete and going to do some good things for us. And then Tony Burnecki, another freshman we really like at linebacker and running back just like Dominic, and he had 2 carries for 20 yards recovering from a knee injury that had kept him out since his final game at the sub-varsity level. Receiving wise, Braden Morrison had a huge night, had 8 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. Braden continues to be a stalwart for us, a workhorse, does a good job blocking and just becoming more accountable. And then the big night came for Braxton Floyd, 5 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. Just an outstanding job. All those guys are accountable for their actions and their play and their time time in there, and I thought Braxton did a phenomenal job and being responsible for his group and putting out big plays when he needed it. And then Hudson Gray had 2 catches for 59 yards, 39 was the long. Hudson has continued to, we say this each week, I feel like, he's continuing to mature. He's just a sophomore. He's a big kid. He's really athletic. He's going to be a huge player for us. And right now he's an important part, but he has other parts around him where he can fit in and adapt to his role, and he's continued to improve as the years went on. Ray Morrison had 2 catches for 46 yards and a touchdown, along of 41. Again, Ray puts out big numbers, drawing a lot of attention over there when he's on the field. Cameron Collins also had 2 catches for 26 yards, something we ask our running backs to do, which I'm not sure why anybody wouldn't want to. It's more chances to touch the ball. He had his carries, and then he ended up with a couple of catches on offense coming out of the backfield. Again, just a really solid night by Cameron and picking up that touchdown. And then Jace Talley returned from a couple of weeks of injuries, and he got poked in the eye a few weeks ago, and he's really struggled with headaches. And it wasn't just a regular poke; it was a deep wound. Basically, kind of bruised his eye and created some swelling. So he's had some headache issues, and it's really limited him. And Jace is a great kid. We love him and works every day, and we want him to continue to grow and as a football player. And he's done that. And he came in with the 2 catches for 16 yards. At this time, let's take a look at our first half highlights. Here, Grant Holder is kicking off, going deep, and then Will Roper, who I thought played really hard for us, came on. He had 7 tackles. I think we're going to talk about him a little bit later. Had a good special teams performance, good defensive performance, so a really good night for him. Here you see they're trying to trade the tight end. Our guys do a good job adjusting. They ended up calling a face mask on Dominic Smith, and Dominic comes back with a big tackle here, really physical on a big young man for Southeast, and makes a good tackle and gets them in 3rd and long, and then they're kind of rolling out here. Here Hayden Maynard, he almost lets him go, but ends up with, I believe, his 2nd sack on the year. A good play to start us out in the right shape where they have to kick deep from their side of the field, and we end up with a great field position at the 45-yard line for our offense to take the field. We start out with a pass to Braden Morrison. He catches the ball, gets a little, you can see the turf come up right there. He gets a good move, but slips down. Still a big gain, and then Owen buys some time in the pocket and is able to roll out and hits Braxton Floyd for what will be the first of many catches on the night. A little bit of a bad snap here. Good block by Cameron Collins, and then Owen ends up running it in. Do a good job by him making the adjustment, comes in, and we take a lead 6-0. We end up missing a 2-point conversion there. There's Jax Brooker scraping, Connor Cummins, Dominic Smith all in on the tackle. They're trying to run the quarterback sneak, and I think our guys did a good job. They got us a few times a little bit later, but it's something they really like, short yardage situations. Here it's 4th down, break a little bit of tackles. They're holding us, but Jax ends up breaking off the hold, and Connor Cummins finishes off the tackle. Here is a swing route after the change in possession on that 4th down. A good job by Cameron. Picks his feet up a little bit there. I think he can pick up a few more yards, but still a good throw, a good catch, a good run. Great blocking out here by Jace Talley and Braxton Floyd. They need to stay on their blocks a little bit longer, but they cleared it enough for Braden to work in and get some yardage. And then running a curl route here, and Hudson Gray ends up getting down the field. Again, we've already mentioned Hudson and his talent that he has getting down and the effort that he gives. Really expect big things for him as he advances in years here at Northwest. And there's Cameron catching a ball for a touchdown, a good thrown ball, good read. We end up going for 2 and missing it there to make the score 12-0. Grant Holder kicks it deep. Does a great job. Grant's he's working for that consistency there. Will's got to break his feet down a little bit earlier, but he makes him cut back, and Miles Mays and I believe Jackson Weaver and Will are all in on the tackle. They're running the trap. Our guys do a good job of filling it in, and again, Jackson, I think that was Connor, end up getting a big play there, and but really our defensive line created that, and then Connor Cummins gets some pressure. Great coverage by our secondary. They're trying to run deep. We got to keep backpedaling, but we end up tackling them for a big loss as Miles Mays tackles him down on around the 3-yard line, which I thought was a little deeper. But regardless, they end up getting a punt off, and then Braxton Floyd fields it at the 38, fumbles it a little bit, and then Braxton, you can kind of see his athleticism. It's not a big return, but he makes people wonder, should we kick it to him? And then Owen keeps the ball here on the zone, ends up with a big play. Coming back the next play on offense, we run the post corner, and Braden does a good job pulling it in. He really needs to tuck that ball away, but still a great catch to put us up 19-0. We kicked the extra point at that time with Grant Holder and Jax snapping and Braxton Floyd holding for us. And then Jaden Santiago there on a tackle there. Isaiah Foster makes a good flip of his hips, ends up getting a big interception, and comes back, and we get the ball on about the 3-yard line, end up picking a big first down. There's a good play by Braxton, ends up staying alive. There's Hudson Gray working down the field, gets a few blocks trying to lead him down the sideline, end up getting the ball around the 36-yard line. We're trying to go fast. Again, Braxton needs to stay on his block a little bit longer, but still a good job by Braden finding his way up near midfield. Good throw by Owen. Our offensive line did a good job protecting for us. Here we're running the zone. Great play by Adrian. You can still tell he's a little bit hobbled. Good job by our O-line blocking. There we played about 7 guys. Silas, Harrod, Gian Gomez were our 2 guys that subbed in and were able to perform. And then we had Riley Bonanno and Jackson Greason and Dawson Wheeler, Alex Starks, and all of our guys in there contributing to us moving the ball. There we kick off down the middle of the field. He ends up dropping it, and Jax gets a big hit. The ball gets away from him a little bit, and then one of our sophomores on kickoff, Kendrick Hines, ends up recovering the ball and giving it to us around the 20-yard line. Come back. I see Dawson Wheeler protecting Jackson Greason, Stark, Riley Bonanno, and Austin Duncan all contributing there, and a good throw and a good catch for a touchdown for us. There's a snap by Jax Brooker, the hold by Braxton Floyd, and the kick by Grant Holder. We end up, they get a few yards here early in this drive and get a little bit closer to midfield. They had a good kickoff return. We end up giving up a couple of first downs. We're not playing blocks exceptionally well here, but we squeak through and are able to get them down into a third down situation. And Reyes De La Paz, Miles Mays, I believe Hayden Maynard are in on that tackle. They end up turning it over on downs. We end up throwing the screen here to Hudson Gray as he streaks down the sideline to give us a big play and give us a chance to kick a field goal right before the half. But we end up fumbling, I believe, on that next play, make a big stop here to get our offense back the ball. There was Jax Brooker on the tackle, a little pressure by Miles, I believe I saw in there, coverage by Reese Cowart. They end up punting the ball to us. And again, they kick the ball away. They get a great roll down deep, and we're trying to decide what we want to do. Do we want to try to go, it's 32, but at the same time, we want to try to work our offense and work on some things. We didn't really have a timeout left. So we're working down the field, and Braden Morrison has a couple of big catches on the hitch, and then the slant for us gets us up. Good deliveries by Owen, throwing the ball great with good timing. There's a great route and a great catch by Braxton Floyd. Good block by Hudson Gray there as we get down deep in the field, and we end up scoring. But I do believe this was called back on a hold that maybe occurred. Regardless, Braden comes back and has a big catch and gets us third and long here, but more manageable. And then we throw a deep route, a wheel route to Braxton Floyd. He does an outstanding job catching it. We end up lining up for a field goal, had plenty of leg on it, but it sailed just wide left to go in at halftime with Northwest 32, Southeast 0. At this time, let's take a look at our corporate sponsors.
Will Roper, number 33, middle linebacker. Most memorable moment would have to be my first start against Cahola Creek this year. The guys pick on me about my height. Definitely not the tallest, one of the shortest seniors. Most embarrassing moment would have to be my sophomore year. We're playing Southeast, and I was playing D-line at the time, and then I got broke by the quarterback. It's not really a movie, it's kind of a music video. Michael Jackson's Thriller, where Michael Jackson turns into a werewolf. It scares me. Probably wear the black hoodie, gray sweatpants, and some just tennis shoes. Definitely go to the future because just want to see how life is. I think about what me and my friends are going to do later in the day. I think about everything in general, about football, baseball, any sport, really. Definitely back talking. Been in trouble a lot with that one. Something you'd never guess about me is that I love bobbleheads. I have like 9 or 10 at home, from Braves to anything, really. First off, I want to thank God for getting me into this position where I'm at today, for being able to wake up every day. And I'd like to thank my parents for pushing me, especially my dad. He's pushed me throughout my whole life to be a better athlete, a better person. I'd like to thank my grandma, grandpa, my other grandma, and my other grandpa, because they've been pushing me too. And I'd like to thank my aunts and uncles and everybody. Will Roper, number 33, middle linebacker.
I'm Reyes. I play defensive end, and my jersey number is number 46. Most memorable moment has to be last year against Stevenson. My matchup was a big old dude, and it was like putting pads on a gorilla. I guess I'm sporadic. I'm reckless in the field. I just fall down everywhere. It has to be where I think it was earlier this year. I was thinking I was going to go full speed, took first step, hit the ground in mud. Teletubbies. It haunts the back of my head. Hoodie, some short shorts, and some Crocs. I went to one of my friend's birthday parties, and he was going on a trip to Mexico, so I gave him some pesos for he can feel himself over there. Probably go in the future, see what type of cool stuff they've made already. When am I gonna get there? Being spontaneous. I mean, I say and do things without thinking. I'll listen to some older music. Mr. Reese can agree. I'd like to thank my parents for making me and the coaches for molding me. I'm Reyes. I play defensive end, and my jersey number is number 46.
I'm Bonanno. I'm number 53. I play right guard and nose. My most memorable moment was a few years ago when I picked up a fumble recovery and Jackson Holt fell on me. I mean, I'm usually the butt of a joke when it comes to the senior group. I'm always the one. I was pulling, and I tripped over our center and fell on my face. The movie Coraline, that movie was always really creepy. Joggers, a hoodie, and one of my pairs of Jordans. I bought a creme brulee for my grandmother. I would go into the future just to see what life is like. Just like however the school day went, or how football practice went, or whatever I have going on for the rest of the day. Not listening. I struggle to listen. I'm really good at cooking. I want to thank my family and my friends. They're really who've stuck it out with me the longest. I'm Bonanno. I'm number 53. I play right guard and nose.
Welcome back to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. Let's talk a little bit about our defense. I thought our first defense ended up with a shutout on the night. We had subbed in pretty heavily when they scored, and that's fine. We're going to play our guys. We're not, shutouts are something that we strive for, but when we've got a big lead and those kind of things, that's as a coach, as the head coach, and as our coaching staff, we're more worried about getting our guys playing time that are going to be our future. We're more worried about getting playing time to those same guys that are our future, but they're also putting in the work now. And really, when you're a scout team guy and you're a younger guy, you're a sophomore, you're a freshman, or maybe even a few juniors, and you're not getting a ton of playing time, to have a chance to reward them is very nice. So it was a good night for us. Other than a couple of penalties on a kickoff return, I don't think they really got inside our 40-yard line until late in the game, and we were almost all the stats we read at are going to be in that 20 to 30 play range, which means our numbers are going to be less, which is a good thing. Again, we were able to control the game, control the scoreboard, and our defense played exceptionally well. Starting out with Reyes de la Paz had in only 23 plays had 4 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and a quarterback pressure. He's all over the field. He plays a little nose now. He's playing defensive end. He's just doing different things and contributing for us. Junior Aguirre came on in 20 plays and had 3 tackles and a tackle for a loss. Really good night for him. His tackle for a loss was a great play on the goal line to kind of keep them pinned, and that led to our last score. So it was really nice to see Junior get those stats, because he doesn't always have that opportunity because he's our nose and he's getting doubled and triple teamed. Hayden Maynard came on with in 29 plays, had 2 tackles, a sack, and tackle for loss, and really played one of his best games against one of the bigger, more physical offensive lines that we've played, especially the young man he was lined up across from is a very talented player for Southeast, and he came out with a very productive night. And again, I think he's adapted more and having some knee issues, the MCL tear, and playing through it and showing some toughness. It's really nice to see him have an opportunity to get a sack, and he's going to continue to play better as he goes and becomes more confident in that knee. Again, just a warrior for us fighting through the injury. Miles Mays, our freshman, came on in 21 plays, had 4 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for a loss. Really good night for him, kind of put the whole thing together. Kind of in grading out exactly where we want, but his numbers are getting higher. He just understands the game and gets there. There's a certain way that Coach Miner has his guys do it, and he's still growing in that fashion. So he'll become a defensive force here in the next few years for the Northwest Bruins. And then we had Jackson Holt come on and contribute a lot of plays for us, and ended up with a tackle from his nose position. And then Colton Arrington played 8 plays, had a forced fumble and a quarterback pressure. That's a lot of production in a short amount of time, and a lot of it coming against their varsity. So it's good for Colton. He's a guy that didn't play as a sophomore and has grown, and came back and been really involved in our football programs, kind of worked his way back in the rotation. Not a guy that we were really hanging our hat on early, but he's getting to the point now where he's playing special teams 8, 10, 12 plays, and we'll really look for big things out of him next year. Jax Brooker, in around 30 plays, had 12 tackles and 2 tackles for a loss. Did a really good job for us. Flies around all over the field. People try to run the counter more and more to try and slow him down. He does a great job reading and is very disciplined. And then Jaden Santiago came on with 6 tackles and a tackle for a loss again in around that 30-play mark. Doesn't have as many opportunities, but still had a few lateral flows that he's really got to get downhill. But Jaden's, he unfortunately, due to injuries and quarantines, was moved all over the place those first 3 or 4 games, being the senior experienced guy, and now he's settling in at inside linebacker and doing a great job for us. Connor Cummins didn't practice last week very much, was no contact, had a collarbone issue, and he was the first guy that we were able to pull in the linebacker crew and still ended up with 5 tackles and a pressure. Connor's just a guy that if we're going to have a good night, he's going to have to contribute in space, which is really difficult because he's usually tackling people that are other people's receivers and running backs. And when they get in space, that's difficult, and he finds a way to do it and be very productive and efficient, and is a very intelligent player. Ike Ralston had 4 tackles for us and around that 30-play mark as well. Ike played multiple positions. He played Connors a little bit, which is really his first experience this year in a game playing Connors' position when we took him out early, and I thought he did a fantastic job. Ike is very capable, but he missed the first 4 games of the year and really is going through his first varsity football season. I talked to him about that, how he can't hit a lull. He's got to push and grow and be better, and he is. He played really hard this game and kind of pushed through that mid-season blues where his last full football season was his freshman year. So he did a really good job for us. Dawson Whitmore came in at around 15 plays. He's a sophomore for us. Very intelligent young man, had 3 tackles for us on the night. Going to be a good football player for us. And so it was nice to get him some playing time. And then in the secondary, I thought our secondary played really well. Southeast, as most people, tried to test our secondary, and I thought our guys were much better in coverage, much better with their technique. Hudson Gray had a tackle and a pass breakup. Isaiah Foster had 2 tackles and an interception. Isaiah is a guy, we've already talked about Hudson on offense. Isaiah's a guy that's really concentrated on defense, that we're looking at being a 2-way guy next year for us, and made a really good play. His hips looks good doing it, and he's just learning. Again, he's tip of the iceberg as far as his potential. He's going to be a really good football player before it's all said and done here. Braxton Floyd, on top of his great night on offense, came back and had a couple of tackles on defense. Again, he's the guy that's playing almost every play for us, and he's not a big statured guy, but he plays with a big heart and does a good job working on his technique, trying to perfect his craft as times went on. Reese Cowart had a tackle and a pass breakup, had another chance for interception. His buddies have kind of been on him because he's had a few that he's had a chance to get to pick off, but ultimately Reese did a good job for us on Friday and continues to get better as the season progresses. And our guy, the experienced guy, Dominique Smith, at this point, he's our leader. We've moved him around. We ask him to do different things, and we should. He's the most experienced. He's very capable. He's athletic. Fought off an injury a little bit, was limited in practice, and appears to be better as we work towards Ridgeland this week. So we're thankful for that. And then a few of our other guys came in. Senior Jackson Weaver has been working hard in practice for us, and came in and had a tackle. And then a freshman, Kendris Douglas, also had a tackle on the night. So overall, really good defensive night, and we were able to get a lot of guys in. So it was kind of win-and-win situation all the way around. At this time, let's take a look at the second half highlights. Come back in the second half, and we open up on offense here, and we're throwing the screen to Ray, and good job blocking by Braxton and Braden. As Ray picks up a few yards, there's our offensive line. There's Cade Combs came in and performed well for us. He's a sophomore we expect big things out of, and Cameron gets a big gain. And then here's a just a hitch route for Ray. We're not trying to run up the score. We're just trying to run our offense without really throwing the ball down the field. We end up scoring on that. Good play by Ray, good throw, good by Owen, and good protection by our offensive line. We add the extra point, and at this point we want to try to play our starting defense one more series. Just because we know, we're going to be in 4-quarter football games from here on out. Here's a great effort by Will Roper again. I believe we're going to mention him later if we don't. Still an outstanding job by him, picking up a few special teams tackles, and that's what we're looking for out of him. He's a senior that's contributing to us, and he's in the game now at linebacker. There's a big tackle that I believe we've just talked about with the junior Aguirre, and there's Ike Ralston turning the sweep back in. A good pursuit by Dominique, Jaden Santiago, and Will Roper all making the tackle. A good edge set by Ike Ralston. They end up punting the ball to us, punted out of bounds, which is good. It gives us good field position. We trade possessions a couple of times here, and now we've got some of our backups in. We're starting to rotate our guys out, a few here and a few there. Miles Mays does a great job slanting, great speed. He's just got to work flatter. That's part of growing up and getting more experience. And here they come. I believe that we have Jackson Weaver, Dawson Whitmore in on the tackle. They end up with a large gain there. Will Roper rips over like he's supposed to. Got to come downhill a little more, but in the end they end up scoring and making it 39-6. And we've got our JV and our freshman in at this point. There's Eli Spites handing off to Tony Burnecki and running the zone, and Tony's running really hard. A good job by our offensive line coming in. Those JV guys kind of get beat on a little bit by our first D. Ultimately, we have Eli keep the ball, and he gets down the field with a big gain. Really athletic kid for us. You can see it there. He's going to play a big part in our football program. Dominique Johnson with a big run. Good job by our offensive line handling their slants and blitzes. Kind of a bad snap here, and Eli comes, and I think he gets in the end zone. I'm not real sure how he doesn't. He dives, but they spot him down short. We end up handing the ball to Dominique Johnson, who kind of walks into the end zone there. He's got to run a little bit harder on the goal line, but still a good moment for a freshman to get a score. Cristobal Campos is our JV kicker, comes on and does a great job and drives through the extra point there. I see Will C on the tackle. Unfortunately gets a face mask in the process. There we've got Luis Almazan, Colton Harrington. I'm trying to say as many names as I can, but when it's a big pile like that, it's kind of hard to see. There, I think Tony Burnecki was in on the tackle. Luis Almazan, freshman Everett Williams. They're running ISO again. There's our guys coming downhill. We just got to get them going backwards, but good feel right there by the linebacker. They're trying to quarterback sneak. Ultimately, they end up fumbling it because our nose does a great job, and one of our freshmen, Jace Patterson, ends up picking up his first varsity touchdown as he crosses the goal line. He's got to keep the ball tucked, but ultimately is able to score to put us up 52-6 at this point. There's a great job by our defensive line. One of our freshmen that we're really high on, Cooper King, coming in and making a big stop as the game ends with Northwest 52 and Southeast 6. At this time, let's take a look at our corporate sponsors.
My name is Austin Duncan. I'm number 6'3", and I play left tackle. My most memorable moment on the football field is probably our win against Central Carrollton. I can yo-yo really well. It's kind of odd. I was going for a botched punt, and I just got knocked over like a sack of rocks. The Wizard of Oz kind of scared me. It was odd. Joggers and a sweatshirt. I think I gave my brother Eli a keychain a couple days ago. I'd probably go back to around 1700. I'd like to see kind of how the world worked, maybe see some Parliament, how it was working. I sing. I don't think I sing. I can be loud. I can be really loud. I love to read. I actually read in my free time. I mean, my mom, of course I'd like to thank God, my family, but my mom and my stepdad Brandon have been really, really supportive throughout me playing football. My name's Austin Duncan. I'm number 6'3" and I play left tackle.
I'm Silas Harrod, I'm 76, and I play right tackle. Probably going to how far we did last year. That was pretty cool. I'm known to have not much hair on my legs, so. In rec league, I hit a guy so hard that he farted, and we called him Whoopee Cushion for the rest of the year. I would say Courage the Cowardly Dog. Bruin attire. Probably a bracelet, yeah. I would go to freshman year so I could push myself harder. Mainly music. Probably my stubbornness. I play baritone in the band. My dad, my mom, obviously my whole family, and all my friends who supported me. Silas Harrod, I'm 76, and I play right tackle.
Welcome back to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. We just want to wish all the teams here at Northwest best of luck as volleyball season goes on, and I believe they're in the Elite Eight now. Our softball team's also in the Elite Eight. You know, our cross-country team has had a really good year and is running for region recognition on an individual and team basis. Our cheerleaders are competing. Our band has had a great performances and rated really high. So it's just a great time. You know, our football team's kind of recovered from a slow start and have an opportunity to wrap up a home playoff game this coming week versus Ridgeland. It is at Ridgeland High School in Rossville, and we really want everyone to come out and support these guys as they go forward and work and come out and support all our teams. There's a lot of effort and time spent by our athletes here at Northwest, and not just that, but our coaches. You know, Coach Middleton and Coach Eichert, Mr. Vanoy, and Miss Enlow, they all have done things to try and grow their young people as not only athletes but also as people in general and contributors to the Northwest community, and have done an outstanding job. So come out and support everybody. You know, Friday night we'd love to see you in Ridgeland. It's usually a close game between the two of us. There's been years that one team was significantly better than the other, and the game was played until for the fourth quarter. Our games are typically a good one that'll be interested. So just come out and support everyone. We'll welcome you up at Rossville this coming Friday. Until next week, I'm Josh Robinson with Northwest Football.